Duncan Levin is a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor in the Manhattan DA's office. So, Duncan, how does this charge of murder as an act of terrorism affect this overall prosecution?
Well, it's something that they've brought because obviously the high profile nature of this murder, they feel like they can get some sort of conviction on this count. But the problem is they've taken a case where there's really overwhelming evidence of Mr. Mangione's guilt, and they've overcharged it and made it a case of terrorism. And to prove that, they're going to have to show that this murder was not primarily personal, but it was explicitly tied to some sort of broader ideological campaign that he was trying to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, try to influence government policy. The prosecutors now are going to have to prove that. Overcharging a case is obviously nothing new, and sometimes it's done to try to put pressure on somebody to take a plea, and sometimes it's done to have a jury convict on a lesser charge if that serious top one fails. But what the prosecutors have done now is they've taken a very straightforward murder case, and they've charged it as this very serious act of terrorism. And I think they're going to have a very difficult time proving that based on a very short, they call it a manifesto, but we're talking about 300 words on a piece of paper. And from that, they're trying to leverage that into a case where he would never be eligible for parole if he's convicted. So they've charged it as seriously as they could, and calls into question whether this murder is different than a lot of the murders you see in New York City every day, because it involved a broad daylight shooting, because it involved a wealthy person, a CEO. There was a lot of public interest in the case, but I think they've taken a case now and they've made it a lot more difficult for them, where the evidence is really there on a second-degree murder case, which doesn't have this added element of terrorism.
So where, as a defense attorney, do you begin to build your defense? Or do you think that this is a case where they might try to at least make a plea deal, although the question remains whether the prosecutors would even go for that?
Yeah, it's really early to talk about a plea deal. He's still talking about extradition, but now there are two very serious problems with the prosecution's case, on a case where, from all that we can see, it should be a slam dunk. I mean, this is a defendant who was carrying the gun in his backpack. His face matches the video. He has a manifesto, as they call it, but written in his own writing, talking about the murder. This is not a whodunit. And the defense now has two areas where they can really push on if this case goes to trial. The first is, as I was saying, was whether a jury really can believe that this was an act of terrorism, because if not, that is an element of this first-degree murder charge. And if not, the prosecution is going to lose that count. But then even if you get to the second-degree murder, there's really a question about whether this was done under what they're calling in New York State extreme emotional disturbance. This is somebody who we understand was under enormous amounts of pain from a spinal injury. He had been through a spinal surgery, and he might have been on all sorts of drugs, psychological, that impacted his psychological well-being. And if, from the defense perspective, they are going to try to establish that he was under emotional disturbance at the time of this murder, such that he lacked the ability to premeditate this murder, that this was not something that he had been thinking about for a long time. It was sort of more of a spur of the moment thing while he was under so much pain, physical pain, and also under disturbance from the psychological drugs he was on, that even that count would fail. And would support a manslaughter charge. So I think if
Duncan, I want to interrupt you there because we only have a minute left, but I know you actually know the attorney who's going to be representing Mangione, Karen Friedman Agnifilo. What can you tell us about her?
She is a phenomenal attorney. She's very, she's talented. She was the chief of the trial division at the Manhattan DA's office, and then she became the chief assistant under DA Cy Vance. She has overseen hundreds of prosecutions. She knows the prosecutor, Joel Seidman, very well. She knows how the office operates. She knows how to defend a case like this. He chose well in her, and I think she knows the intricacies of New York law. So he's in good hands with her. She knows what she's doing.